G'day everyone, it's Curtis here and welcome to an On the Back Wheel video. Today I'm reviewing the Royal Enfield Hunter 350 and we're going to find out if it's a good bike and whether or not you should fork out your hard-earned cash and buy one.
The Hunter 350 is Royal Enfield's take on a modern city bike that still has that classic Royal Enfield DNA. The Hunter features Royal Enfield's J-Series single-cylinder motor, comes in at 181 kilograms ready to ride, has a massive 7 color variants, and a razor sharp price of $7,500 right away.
I've had the bike for a bit over a month now and I've done all kinds of riding on it, including riding to and from work, general commuting, going to the shops and back. I've ridden over the mountains a couple of times on it, including highway work. And I have to say, I'm surprised. Let's start off with the design and build quality of the Royal Enfield. I have to say, this is a fantastic looking bike and I love the design of it. This kind of modern retro look they've gone to really hits for me. And it's not just me who thinks that. I've had several people at work and in the public come up and say to me, that is a fantastic looking bike. And for all those guys out there, I've had a fair few chicks come up to me and say, that's a nice looking bike. I'd love to ride on the back of it. Nice. Walking around the bike, we got 17-inch alloy wheels front and rear, a large single disc at the front. It's completely blacked out and I love how they've done that. This is the Rebel Blue paint job. I think it looks absolutely fantastic. Coming up to the dash, it's a mix of analog and digital, and I think they've done a fantastic job with it. It's simple and easy to read and has everything you want. Coming back, we have a beautiful seat that's comfortable and wide, good for a pillion as well. Then the rear, nice and tidy rear on the Royal Enfield. While the bike is obviously built to a price, I don't think they've really skimped anywhere. Yes, the tyres and brakes are budget, but they suit the bike and its capabilities. Engine-wise, we've got a 349cc single overhead cam, single cylinder motor, coupled with a 5-speed transmission. It's putting out roughly 20 horsepower and 27 newton meters of torque. Now, for everyday city riding and its intended purpose, it is more than serviceable and full of character. It's got that great single cylinder thumper feel. It feels old school. Yet it's still quite smooth and doesn't have too many vibrations through the pegs and bars. I do think it is about 5 horsepower underpowered though, and I think it really could benefit from a bit more grunt.
There have been times when I simply haven't had enough power to overtake and the bike struggles to pull my weight up hills. And if you want to punch ahead of traffic after lane splitting, you'd want to pay attention and hope the cars next to you aren't too quick. On the highway, it cruises along well at 100 to 110 kilometers per hour. Any more than that and it struggles. Around town though, I find the engine fun and torquey, just not exciting.
The fueling is perfect, including the on-off throttle response, which is a real bugbear of mine, and the gearbox is fantastic. When you sit on the Hunter 350, it feels low, light and nimble. I'm 6 foot and I touch with both legs very comfortably bent. If you're someone who is shorter or suffers from Duck's disease, this is definitely the bike for you. Or if you're worried about seat height, you're going to touch very comfortably. Pushing the Hunter 350 around the garage or in tighter spaces, you will notice the extra weight of it over, say, a Kawasaki Z500. So if you are of smaller frame, that is definitely something to consider.
On the road, the Royal is very easy to handle and has a low center of gravity. I've said it on previous videos, but it is a doddle to ride. If you want to ride hard, you will run out of ground clearance and it is a little reluctant to lean right over, though it's not really that kind of bike. It also has a ridiculously good turning circle.
The suspension is basic but does a pretty good job. Now I'm 90 kilograms butt naked, so I'm definitely on the larger side of the intended audience of the Hunter 350. But I find it holds up really well until I take bigger hits or I push the pace when riding in the mountains. Then it starts to lose a bit of compliance and will wallow a bit. If you're on the lighter side, I wouldn't touch it, and it should be pretty spot on.
The Hunter 350 is an easy bike to live with. Fueling the bike up is simple and the bike is stupidly economical. The headlights aren't too bad, maybe a bit yellow, so a brighter bulb might be worth investing in if you ride at night a lot.
If you're having issues with your battery, it's very easy to access. All you do is put your key in here, unlock it, and then there's some grommets that hold in this side panel, and you pop that off, and voila, there's your battery. While I personally haven't had to do any servicing, a few owners have reached out and said that this bike is really easy to work on and cheap. That's always a positive in my books. Let's talk about some likes and dislikes I have for the Hunter 350. Let's start with the likes. I really enjoy the seat. You can get really far forward on it and really far back, and it's good for a pillion too. The fuel economy is absolutely fantastic. I'm getting roughly 2.7 litres per 100 kilometres. This is a very frugal machine. And also, if you're riding in the city, man, this thing is great for lane splitting and getting in and out of traffic. Another thing, there's tons of accessories for it. Royal Enfield has a ton, and then looking online, you can get some accessories really cheap. So if you do want to spec it out a bit, there's plenty of options out there, and they are reasonably priced. I like the levers that are on the Royal Enfield. They're a really nice feel to them. They're kind of flatter at the front and simple to use. And I also like the rear brake lever. It's wide and you get plenty of purchase on it, and it's in a great position. Now, there are a few things I don't like about the Hunter 350. We'll start off with the motor. I mentioned before, I think it is underpowered, but then there's also the stock engine note. I think it could really benefit from an exhaust. It's very quiet. When you are going, it's not too bad. Then we got the mirrors. They're great for looking at your elbows and your shoulders. That's about it. And when you get up to higher speeds, they do vibrate, so you can't really see too clearly out of them. Maybe put some bar ends on. And then we got the fuel gauge. Once you get to about 2 bars from empty or reserve, it just flashes into reserve every now and again and starts the reserve trip meter. And then a couple minutes later, it will go back up, and I've sloshed it around to see if that's the issue. That's not, so it's just a bit finicky in that regard. All right, let's get into the nitty-gritty. Would I buy a Royal Enfield Hunter 350? Unfortunately, I'm in the no camp. For me personally, I want a bit more power than this bike has to offer. So maybe the Interceptor 650 would be a better option for me. Should you fork out your hard-earned cash and buy one? If you're on your REs and want a good-looking bike, definitely. This is a genuinely good motorcycle. There's plenty of dealers out there. It's proven to be reliable, it's cheap to run, and there's heaps of accessories. So go for it. If you're a more experienced rider who's getting back into motorcycling, or you're just not too worried about power and want a good looking bike, I would definitely put this on your shortlist. So what I want to know from you is, would you own a Hunter 350, or do you own one? Let me know in the comments down below. And if you haven't, make sure you click that subscribe button. It really helps grow the channel. It helps to get more bikes like this to review. And if enough of you comment, hopefully they'll give me a Himalayan 450 to try out. We'll see how we go. All right, keep it on the back wheel, everyone. Catches.